the happiest surprise of my parents. Lives became the biggest mistake my in-laws ever made. I had spent 4 years secretly saving every bonus, every investment return, and every extra dollar I could earn. Not for myself. Not for a luxury car. Not for a mansion. For my parents. My mom and dad had spent their entire lives sacrificing everything so I could chase my dreams. They worked overtime, skipped vacations, and even sold their first home to help pay for my college tuition. So when their 50th wedding anniversary approached, I wanted to give them something unforgettable. A luxury beachfront house overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. It wasn't just beautiful. It was the home my mother had dreamed about since she was 22 years old. She used to point at houses like it whenever we drove along the coast. One day, she'd whisper with a smile, "I'd love to wake up hearing the waves." She never believed that day would come. But I made sure it did. The surprise was perfect. I blindfolded my parents, drove them to the property, and placed the keys in my mother's shaking hands. When she removed the blindfold, she burst into tears. My father couldn't even speak. He hugged me tighter than he ever had before. "Athena," he whispered, "this is impossible." "No," I smiled. "You made my dreams possible. Now it's my turn." For a few hours, it felt like the perfect ending to a lifetime of love. Then 3 black SUVs pulled into the driveway. I frowned. The doors opened. Out stepped my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, my husband's brother, his wife, their children, and enough luggage for a month-long vacation. My mother-in-law looked around the property with a huge smile. "Oh, this place is even prettier than the pictures." "Pictures?" Before I could ask what she meant, she walked straight past me, grabbed one of the spare keys hanging on the kitchen wall, unlocked the front door, and shouted, "Everyone, pick your rooms before they're gone." I stood there frozen. "What are you doing?" I asked. She looked at me like I was the one asking a ridiculous question. "Moving in, of course." My heart stopped. "I'm sorry, what?" She laughed. "Oh, sweetheart. Didn't Ethan tell you? This house belongs to the whole family now." Behind me, my parents quietly placed their suitcases back in the car. Neither of them wanted to start a fight on their anniversary, but I saw the heartbreak in my mother's eyes. She tried to smile, but I knew that look. It was the same look she wore every time she sacrificed her own happiness for someone else. I promised myself long ago, no one would ever make my parents feel that way again. What my in-laws didn't know was that they had just crossed a line they could never uncross. And before the week was over, they would discover one very expensive detail about that beach house that I had intentionally kept secret. I stood in complete disbelief as my mother-in-law handed out room assignments like she owned the place. "You two take the upstairs suite. The kids can have the ocean view room. Oh, and we'll use the master bedroom." She said it so naturally that several relatives had already started carrying their luggage inside. My parents remained silent. My father gently placed his hand on my shoulder. "Athena," he whispered, "don't ruin today because of us." That sentence broke my heart. After everything they'd sacrificed for me, they were still protecting everyone else's feelings. I wasn't going to let that happen. I walked straight to my husband, Ethan. "Did you know about this?" His confused expression told me everything. "What are you talking about?" "My parents are supposed to live here." He looked toward his mother, who was happily unpacking dishes in the kitchen. "Mom?" She smiled without even looking up. "Oh, relax. Families share. We'll stay here during summers, holidays, and weekends. Your parents won't mind." I stared at her. "They absolutely will." She finally looked at me. "Athena, you bought a house this big. It would be selfish to let only 2 old people enjoy it." The words hit me like a slap. My mother's smile disappeared. Even my father lowered his eyes. Ethan immediately stepped forward. "Mom, apologize." Instead, she laughed. "I raised you better than this. You should be thinking about your real family." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My parents are my real family. The entire room fell silent. Then my brother-in-law casually tossed his suitcase onto the living room couch. "So, when are you giving us our house keys?" I almost laughed. "Our house?" He shrugged. "Well, that's what Mom told everyone." I turned back to my mother-in-law. "You invited everyone here?" She smiled proudly. I even posted photos in our family group chat. "We're having our annual reunion here next month." My stomach tightened. I had never shared the address with anyone except my parents and Ethan. "So how did you get inside?" Without hesitation, she pulled a shiny key from her purse. Ethan gave me a spare years ago. Ethan's eyes widened. I gave you the emergency key for our apartment. She smiled again. I had copies made. The room went completely quiet. She had secretly duplicated our keys. Without permission, before anyone could speak, my phone buzzed. It was a notification from my home security company. New smart lock login detected. I opened the app. Someone had attempted to register themselves as the primary owner of the beach house. The name on the request made my blood run cold. Margaret Collins, my mother-in-law. She wasn't planning a family vacation. She was trying to take control of the house I had bought for my parents. I looked up slowly. She smiled as if she'd already won. She had no idea. The security system had just recorded every single thing she had done. I didn't say another word. Instead, I quietly opened the security app on my phone. Every camera around the beach house was connected to cloud storage. Every door, every hallway, every entrance. Everything had been recording since the moment we arrived. My mother-in-law smiled confidently. "Athena," she said, "there's no need to make this awkward. We're family." I looked at her calmly. "You're right. We are." She smiled, believing I had finally accepted the situation. Then I tapped one button. The 75-inch television in the living room came to life. Everyone turned toward the screen. The first video clip began playing. It showed my mother-in-law unlocking the front door with a copied key. Then her voice echoed through the room. "Hurry up, everyone. Once we're inside, they'll never ask us to leave." The room fell silent. The second clip started. She was standing in the master bedroom with my father-in-law. "This house is too expensive for her parents," she laughed. "Once we stay here long enough, they'll stop coming." My mother looked down at the floor. My father clenched his fists. Ethan stared at the screen in complete disbelief. "Mom," he whispered. "You actually said that?" She immediately tried to defend herself. "You're taking it out of context." I didn't respond. I simply played the third recording. This time it was from 2 days earlier. She was on the phone with my brother-in-law. "Don't book a hotel," she said. "Athena is too polite to throw us out. We'll make this our vacation home every year." My brother-in-law's face turned bright red. Several relatives quietly picked up their luggage. Nobody wanted to be associated with what they had just heard. Then I opened the smart home activity log. Every attempted login, every copied digital key, every failed attempt to register a new owner, each one displayed Margaret Collins's name, email address, timestamp, and device ID. I turned the screen toward everyone. "You weren't trying to visit. You were trying to take control of a home that doesn't belong to you." The room was completely silent. Even the children stopped talking. Then Ethan slowly reached into his pocket. He removed his own house key, placed it on the table, and looked directly at his mother. "I trusted you. You abused that trust." He walked to the front door, opened it, and spoke with a calm but firm voice. "Everyone who came here because of a lie, please leave." No one argued. Suitcases rolled across the wooden floor. Car doors slammed outside. Within minutes, nearly every relative had driven away. Only my mother-in-law and father-in-law remained. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "You'd embarrass me over a house?" I shook my head. "No. You embarrassed yourself the moment you decided my parents didn't deserve the gift I bought for them." She had come expecting a free luxury vacation. Instead, she had exposed her true intentions in front of her entire family. The front door closed behind the last car. For the first time that day, the beach house was quiet. Only the sound of the waves crashing against the shore filled the silence. My mother slowly walked onto the back deck. She stood there looking at the ocean with tears in her eyes. "I never wanted any of this," she whispered. "I just wanted one peaceful anniversary." I wrapped my arms around her. "And that's exactly what you're going to have." My father smiled, but I could still see the disappointment on his face. Not because of the house, but because someone had tried to steal a gift that came straight from the heart. Inside, Ethan turned toward his parents. His voice was calm but firm. "Mom, Dad, I love you, but what you did today crossed every line." His mother began crying. "We're family," he nodded. "Family respects boundaries. Family doesn't make copies of keys. Family doesn't claim someone else's home. And family certainly doesn't try to push two elderly people out of the house that was built for them." Neither of them could answer. His father quietly lowered his head. For the first time all day, he looked ashamed. Ethan walked to the smart home control panel and deleted every unauthorized key, every guest profile, and every remote access permission connected to his parents' devices. Then he created a new digital profile. Homeowners Robert and Emma Carter. My parents. My mother covered her mouth in shock. You put our names on it? I smiled. They've always belonged there. She hugged me tightly. I don't know how we'll ever thank you. You already did, I whispered. You spent your whole life believing in me. A few weeks later, the beach house officially became my parents' permanent home. Every morning they drank coffee together while watching the sunrise over the Atlantic. Every evening they walked barefoot along the shore, laughing like they were young again. As for my in-laws, they apologized more than once. But trust isn't rebuilt with words alone. It takes time, accountability, and changed behavior. We kept our relationship polite, but we also made our boundaries clear. That anniversary taught me something I'll never forget. A gift isn't measured by its price. It's measured by the love behind it. And anyone who tries to turn that love into entitlement only reveals their own character. Whenever I visit my parents now, I still see the same smile on my mother's face as she watches the waves from the porch. She once dreamed of owning a home by the sea. Now she wakes up to that dream every single day. And every time I see her standing there, I know I made the right choice. Because the greatest gift I ever gave my parents wasn't a luxury beach house. It was the peace, dignity, and happiness they had spent a lifetime giving to me.